We are in a position right now where card speculation has completely replaced passion. The passion for collecting, the passion for playing, trading cards in general has been replaced by speculation of what a product might do financially in the next year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. And the investing aspect of trading cards, not just Pokemon, has kind of taken off. Especially over the past year, we've seen it and felt it right here in the Pokemon card community with how difficult it's been to be able to find booster packs, booster boxes, because you have this giant exodus of people entering the hobby, leaving other spaces with the idea of speculation of what this investment might look like years down the road. And it makes things extremely volatile. And there is potential that things could change with the snap of a finger or on a dime. Things could turn quickly because of all this speculation, because of all of this false understanding of what a Pokemon card market or a trading card market or a collectible market could potentially have in store years down the road. We've seen it with other fads in the past. We've seen it with other phases, and this isn't meant to be doom and gloom. This isn't meant to be anything resembling fear-mongering at all. This is just trying to keep things real, transparent, and understanding that as much as this might be collectability right now, as much as this might be investing for a lot of people, for a lot of other people, this is gambling. This is literally just gambling. This is the reseller mentality of buying something at MSRP because immediately it is worth double or triple that price point. Look at Destined Rivals, which has been steadily declining somewhat, not a lot, but a little bit. That came out a few months ago and it was selling at the time of release for an MSRP price, and it wasn't, I get it, it wasn't MSRP upon release, but the MSRP price for it was $160. Right now, selling for $380. So you are looking at a price point over double MSRP. So if you were somebody who was able to get something from the Pokemon Center drop, which a lot of people were, they immediately resold it under the understanding that they were immediately making at least $160 or more, $200. Maybe if they sold it when it was at its high point a month ago at, $500, they were making, $300, $350, and it was easy. It was easy because they saw that speculation that this is going to happen with every single set, but it's not. And Pokemon has shown before their willingness to reprint sets, and that's kind of what we're going to talk about in today's video without really, nothing's confirmed. Like, everything is rumors, everything is speculative. So this entire video and the entire point that I'm making could be 100% wrong. Pokemon could continue climbing to the moon forever. It could be that my entire life, your entire life, our entire lives involved in Pokemon could continue to climb. And it could just be like, hey, booster boxes will remain extremely liquid. Buy them now. Yeah, Paldea Evolved is almost $500 a booster box. Buy it, because in a month, it's gonna keep going up 10% every single month. Now, the likelihood of that happening, in my opinion, is impossible. And then the likelihood of being able to sell that booster box for that market price, also very difficult, because as more and more sets release, the demand for those sets increases and the demand for older sets decreases. Here's one thing that I've learned. Everybody wants something that's not available until it becomes available. Everybody wants what they don't have until they have the potential to have it. Then they don't want it anymore. Then it's not as sexy. Then it's not as desired because it's easily available. We've seen this with fads throughout the years. We see this with Pokemon cards right now. Booster boxes have never been as popular as they are right now. Booster boxes are super popular because a lot of people can't have them. A lot of people don't want to pay the prices above MSRP, which is fine. I don't think you should. I don't think you should pay $317 for a Phantasmal Flames booster box when the set hasn't even come out yet, and the MSRP on the set is $160. A lot of people are like, well, I think that's a good price because it's going to go up. Speculative. That, again, is speculative. Now, will it? Who knows? Maybe it will. We look at Mega Evolution right now, $300 for a booster box of Mega Evolution. Well, you can find them right now for $250, and that's because that second wave just came out. But what if a giant reprint comes? And that's what we're going to talk about in today's video, the what if game, which is never really a fun game to play because it all is speculation. But I think it's really important to understand all areas of the hobby, both sides of the coin. Like, yeah, it would be great if you could invest in a lot of Pokemon cards and it could pay for your kids' college tuition, and it outperforms your IRA and outperforms your 401k and outperforms all this stuff. But at the same time, that's the information that is easy to record. The information that's tough to record and the information that's tough to think about is, what if it doesn't? What if we are just focusing on this gambler's mentality of, well, I want to sell it within 6 months? Because a lot of people are. And the amount of investors, people who are looking at this from a 5-10 year standpoint, who are looking to hold on to stuff as long as they possibly can until they actually want to move off of it, and probably making smart decisions about their position in each area. I mean, those people are probably less than what I think a lot of people assume there are. So we're going to go look at the data. Also, I do want to just jump in real quick. I just got the binder for the Fan Clan Master Set of Phantasmal Flames. So we're going to crack this thing open and take a look at it. So every single set release, we give away a Master Set. And this is the one for Phantasmal Flames. This is the binder right here. So the Unlucky Collector sends me, you can follow him on Instagram at the Unlucky Collector. He has an Etsy shop. He really, holy buckets, killed it with this one. This is the Fan Clan Master Set of Phantasmal Flames. So what we will do in a couple weeks when Phantasmal Flames comes out is we will literally put this entire set together. Every card that you can pull from a booster pack, every common, uncommon, reverse holo, holo rare, illustration rare, special illustration rare, mega hyper rare, they'll all go in here. Everything. It's even got, look at this, got the colored logo. This is sick, dude. ME2, he's really upped his game on this one. This is absolutely incredible. But we're going to put it together and then we're going to give it to one lucky subscriber. So make sure you're subscribed. This is so good. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel and then follow along with the videos to see the progression, and then for more information about the giveaway, and give the Unlucky Collector a follow. This rips, dude. This is crazy. So I do want to start with the caveat of saying that there is no Pokemon card reprint that is confirmed. There is nothing that is coming right now pertaining to booster boxes or this sudden giant increase of booster boxes in the market. There are signs, in my opinion, that are pointing to things, but I'll be the first one to admit that I'm wrong sometimes, that I don't know exactly what is going to happen. And Pokemon usually plans things, communicates things 1 to 2 months in advance. And I've talked to various levels of distribution. I've talked to sales reps and distribution owners who have not heard anything, which means that over the next couple of months, November and December, the likelihood of us getting a giant booster box reprint is statistically very, very small. That doesn't mean that one won't come next year, but as of right now, there is nothing planned or communicated for the immediate future. Now, there could be more products that come. There could be more ancillary products like booster bundles and elite trainer boxes, maybe 3-pack blisters, things like that, but not necessarily anything that is booster box worthy, nothing that has been communicated at least to distros, and they could continue to put stuff in vending machines. But if you're somebody who's literally sitting, waiting for booster box prices to go crash, over the next couple months, it's probably not going to happen. And even when booster boxes do get reprinted, if they do get reprinted, and I think it's safe to assume for a lot of us that we'll see more Journey Together, we'll see more Destined Rivals, we will see more booster boxes. The likelihood of these booster box prices falling back to MSRP is extremely unlikely. Most likely they are going to retrace, but if you're somebody who's I'm never going to buy a Journey Together box until it hits $159.99 or $161.64 or whatever the MSRP price is, you might need to be it's okay if I never buy a Journey Together booster box, because the likelihood of that happening, I don't want to give you false promises or false understanding of how this market is going to work. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes, but I just wanted to put out there that this is just speculation. This has nothing to do with an actual confirmed reprint, but it's more going off of history and what we have seen in the past. And if that history does repeat itself, which in my opinion has a strong possibility, if history does repeat itself, what things could look like. So this is the expected release schedule for next year. This is the rumor that has been going around, a lot of rumors. And normally I don't like to record videos based off of rumors, but it kind of lines up with the amount of set releases that we typically have. Now, this is only 5 set releases. Normally throughout the year we have 6. We have 2 specialty sets and 1 main series set release. So Phantasmal Flames, which is our next main series set release, comes out in a couple of weeks here, middle of November. That will be our last set release for 2025. Then we move forward into 2026, and the first one you see there is Legendary Dreams, which comes out in January 2026. That is the next English set release. Now that I don't know if that is going to for sure be the name, and I don't know if Mega Dragonite is actually what is going to be in the set. We know based off of history that January is kind of the ideal time when a specialty set comes out. Look at sets like Prismatic Evolutions, which came out last year. The year before that what did we have? Crown Zenith a couple years ago. January is typically around the time where they release a specialty set. And then March is typically around the time where they release another main series set. So we've got Shadow Storm, which is expected to release in March, possibly featuring Gengar or Greninja. Now, we're not getting a special illustration or Gengar in this set. We've already gotten a special illustration or Gengar in a set before with Twilight Masquerade, but it's important to remember that we are in a Mega block now, which is kind of like a holdover block while we are in between gens. So the last generation of Pokemon cards ended a couple with Black Bolt and White Flare. Then we start this Mega block, which is going to last about a year until we get a new Pokemon game that has a new gen introduced, and then we will be done with the Mega block and move into the next gen of Pokemon cards. So Greninja, having a Mega Greninja might make sense with a set like Shadow Storm. Then Emerald Surge, which ties together a little bit based off of Pokebeach's article that they just put out, and I'll talk about that in a second, but that's expected in May 2026. It seems a little bit late for this to release and I believe Pokebeach all the time. What Pokebeach says is true, expected in May of 2026, Emerald Surge likely focusing on Zygarde or Rayquaza. Could be a combination of both. Obviously, Emerald points to Rayquaza. Radiant Ruby and Shining Sapphire planned for July of 2026 as a dual Hoenn theme set featuring Groudon and Kyogre. That would make a little bit of sense. And that's July. Then you usually have a set that releases in August, September, right around the World Championships. And then you've got Eternals, which is expected to be a 30th anniversary set slated for late 2026. So that could be like an October set, maybe a November set. And we don't know if it's going to be a specialty set or a main series set. All signs point to it probably will be a specialty set because that's what we've done in the past for anniversary sets, but you also would expect then a main series set to release in like October, November of next year, much like what we just got this year with Mega Evolution just recently releasing, and then like a month and a half later already another main series set. So next year, there is a strong potential of 7 set releases. It could be 3 specialty sets because one of them is the anniversary set. And then 4 main series set releases, or it could just be 6 sets, and they could do 2 specialty sets with one of them being the anniversary set and 4 main series set releases. So it will be a busy 2026, much like what we've seen. And it's important to remember that over half of the Pokemon cards that have ever been printed have been printed over the past 3 years. So Pokemon has put a lot of cards out into the market. Now, John over at Pokebeach, who does fantastic work, also a super, super great guy. John put out an article just a couple days ago about Muniki's Zero, I don't even know if I'm saying that right, set releasing in January. So this will be a Japanese set that's coming out. In this article, he lists all the Japanese sets that are releasing, featuring Mega Zygarde EX and how it could throw some potential into this Emerald set that's supposed to be coming out. And I mean, there is some tide there. But if the set comes out in January, in my mind, that would point more towards like a March release for a main series set for us, which means that last slide that we just looked at, it could be more speculative than what I think as far as dates go. A lot of people are putting a lot of eggs into all of that. I don't know where that came from. I don't know how it originated, but there could be some gaping holes in it. It could all tie together perfectly, and it could just be dates being wrong. But this featuring Mega Zygarde, which would make sense based off of Legends EA, and this is the next January set release in Japan. So he lists all like some additional speculation and rumors, which he normally does a very good job of being right on. So it's important to look at the release schedule to see where a Giant reprint might fit in and what cards look like next year for a couple of different reasons. Number one, what is the expected, the speculative popularity of a set? So Zygarde, which is a popular Pokemon, but not the most popular Pokemon, are people going to flock to the shelves to buy out a set like that? If you remember, like Shrouded Fable, for example, was not a popular set, sat on the store shelves for a long time. Crown Zenith was a popular set, but there was enough product out there to meet up with demand. Pokemon Go, which was a specialty set, was nowhere near popular enough to be bought. Like, it got clearanced out and wholesaled out pretty much right away. So really trying to get an understanding of what the specialty set with Mega Dragonite, assuming it's Mega Dragonite, looks like, and then how that's going to feed into the next couple of main series set releases. Because if it's a set that there's not going to be as much popularity as what we've experienced, that's going to bring the market down a little bit more. People are going to exit or maybe not spend as much money on current set releases. Maybe they'll go back and focus more on previous set releases, which might impact the percentage drop that could occur via a Giant reprint. But we have not had a Giant booster box reprint in a long time. For a long time, Pokemon has had enough stock out there. They have added additional stock occasionally, like Paradox Rift got a decent restock of booster boxes. Twilight Masquerade and Surging Sparks got decent restocks of booster boxes. But really, since the last Surging Sparks reprint, it's been quiet. It's been very quiet as far as an actual physical reprint goes when it comes to some of these booster boxes. So sets like Journey Together, which was promised to get a reprint at some point in time, has not experienced that reprint yet. Destined Rivals, which we would expect to get a reprint. The only additional booster boxes from Destined Rivals that have hit the secondary market are boxes that were purchased on Pokemon Center's website when Pokemon Center did get a restock. But we have seen Giant reprints before. So the last time this happened was in 2021 in a much similar market to what we're experiencing now. Now, I think it's also important to mention that you cannot compare what we went through during the pandemic to what we are going through right now. I think that is super important. Very different markets, very different in every way, shape, form, aspect. Like, everything is completely different. So it's comparing apples to oranges. You shouldn't make any collection buying decisions or purchases based off of what your experience is during the pandemic, because it is a completely different situation right now as opposed to what we were going through during the pandemic. But that's the last time we had this Giant reprint, and it happened right around the time of an anniversary set release. So it was Celebrations. It was our 25th anniversary set release, which came out in like September of 2021. There was a lot of buzz in the hobby because we were not too far removed from the release of Shining Fates, which saw huge stock issues. Vivid Voltage, which saw huge stock issues because of this sudden resurgence of Pokemon card collecting because of this nostalgia. Now, that was driven a lot more by content creation, FOMO, and influencers than what we've experienced now. This is, like I said, more based off of speculation. A lot more people entering the hobby with future card prices in mind, future speculation and investing prices in mind, whereas last time it was really just about the FOMO. It was really just about the content. You had Logan Paul breaking stuff, you had Logic breaking stuff, you had all these big influencers coming into the space talking about collecting, and then people being shut into their home wanting to relive their childhood, share their childhood with their children and relive that nostalgia, get back to a more fun time, you know, a time that was more enjoyable than what they were going through right then. So we saw this giant resurgence in Pokemon card collecting. Shining Fates ran into a bunch of issues, and then Pokemon kind of got their act together a little bit, and we never got into a situation where booster boxes were unpurchasable, like where you couldn't find booster boxes at decent price points. We had the release of Battle Styles, which backed off a lot of the market because, again, not a fan favorite set, which slowed things down, cooled the market down. Chilling Reign, which had a little bit more popularity to it, but not enough to really resurge the market even more. And then Evolving Skies hit. And Evolving Skies got to a price point where it was near MSRP, but never really above MSRP. But Pokemon could kind of sense something happening. So their foresight at that point in time was really, really strong. And then you had the release of Celebration. So a lot of people worried about not being able to find product. And that's why you had the situation before the release of Celebrations, where a lot of people were pre-ordering prices, double, triple MSRP for Celebrations product. But Pokemon did a good job of making sure that stock was available for Celebrations. And they had enough stock because they waived it. market. So they started waiving product, which they just recently started doing in our current climate. So Mega Evolution was the first set that went through waived releases. So we had wave 1 of Mega Evolution, and now we just got wave 2. We're getting waived releases for Phantasmal Flames. So wave 1 comes out in a couple weeks, and then a few weeks after that, the second wave of Phantasmal Flames booster boxes products will come out. So that points to historically kind of how Pokemon has done things in the past to slow the market down a little bit. So we can kind of correlate those two together, but beginning of or middle of November, this is just invoices that I got from distribution. So wave 2 of Chilling Reign came out on 11/11. This was a very tough time for storefronts because you needed to take stock. You wanted to take stock because A, you didn't want to damage your allocation numbers, and B, you needed stuff to sell. So you wanted to make sure you took stock because you wanted future allocations, and B, you needed stuff to sell. The problem was it was all coming at once. There was so much of it coming, and you needed to pay those invoices. So the only way you could do that is by marking stuff down, getting that expected margin, hitting your profit, and then basically paying your invoice and getting the next product. You couldn't sit there and wait. Like a lot of stores right now, when they get a new set release, they can kind of wait. They can kind of chill because maybe they spend, $40,000, $50,000 on a new set release, and it can slowly trickle out. It can slowly sell because they can afford to pay that $40,000, $50,000. When you get hammered with like 5 or 6 invoices in the span of 3 or 4 weeks that are all $50,000 a piece, then it becomes a lot more difficult. So on 11/11, we got hit with this, and this was not all of it. This was just kind of the reprint aspect of it, the restock aspect of it. So wave 2 of Chilling Reign, which was 700 booster boxes, and it was priced above what our normal wholesale cost was. So we got charged 10% more, still well below MSRP, but still 10% more. A reprint of Evolving Skies, which was very large, 630 booster boxes. So that was the second wave of Evolving Skies that we didn't even know it was coming. Evolving Skies had only released 3 months prior to this. That was 10% above your normal wholesale. Fusion Strike releases. So we got 812 boxes of Fusion Strike. That was wave 1. We knew a second wave was coming, not until January, but 812 booster boxes of Fusion Strike, which was a normal wholesale because it was a second set release, and then the second wave of Celebration. So all of a sudden you got hit with 700 booster boxes of Chilling Reign, 630 booster boxes of Evolving Skies, a normal set release, and then an additional wave of Celebrations, which was large. It was a large print run of Celebrations for wave 1 and wave 2, and then wave 3 started being a little bit less. So this is something you have to pay for. And that's why you saw prices drop. Now, prices didn't like crash completely, but they did drop 20, 30, 40% on a lot of different items. You fast forward 2 weeks later, so November 29th, right after Black Friday, right after Thanksgiving, and they hit you with a Darkness Ablaze reprint. 180 booster boxes. Now, Darkness Ablaze wasn't an in-demand set, but it was creeping above MSRP. It was getting to a point where it's still in print, like it's only a year old. Difference is, since the price point had been higher, and this is also going to be a difficult thing to understand as we get closer to the potential reprints, is what is distribution going to charge? Because what are they going to get charged from Pokemon? But 25% above the normal wholesale for that one, so that was a little bit expensive. And same thing with Vivid Voltage, so not as many booster boxes, 180 of those, but 25% above normal wholesale on that one. And then you've got a reprint of Evolving Skies Elite Trainer boxes. So you just got this giant reprint of booster boxes. Now you get additional ETBs, and that was normal wholesale price, so that wasn't that big of a deal. But again, only like 2 weeks after the last one. And then a week later, you get a restock of Sun and Moon Elite Trainer boxes. So this kind of came out of nowhere. And basically Pokemon would say, yeah, we found these on a container ship, or we were shuffling things around from other countries, and all of a sudden distribution has all this extra stock of something that you haven't seen in ages, like Sun and Moon Elite Trainer boxes. So 120 Elite Trainer boxes of that, 10% above the normal wholesale, which wasn't bad. Additional wave of Darkness Ablaze booster boxes. So you got 240 of those, 15% less than the first wave. So you got back to almost wholesale cost on Darkness Ablaze because the market had already, within the span of a week, had already dropped so much that they had to charge less and go back to almost normal wholesale costs, because by the time they were stocking that second wave, the price had already fallen to just about what the wholesale price was like the week before, which is crazy. And then an additional wave of Evolving Skies booster boxes. So this was like the third wave already on December 6th. So a set that was only 4 months old, getting its third wave already. 240 booster boxes, 10% less than the first wave. And this is kind of the price point then where Evolving Skies booster boxes fell below $100 for a very short period of time, because a lot of stores were not necessarily panicking, but panicking a bit at this time because they're like, wow, we just got all this product. We have to pay all these invoices and we're still not done yet. So December 20th, you get the third and final wave of celebrations, and especially the fact that this is the end of the year. So you've got to get everything figured out for financial purposes, for taxes and things like that. Third and final wave of celebrations products. So you're getting more Elite Trainer boxes, you're getting Ultra Premium collections, you're getting, I think the lunchbox tins were like the last things to ship. So you're getting those as well. Second wave of Fusion Strike booster boxes. So we just had 812, and then you're getting an additional wave of Darkness Ablaze and Vivid Voltage Elite Trainer boxes, which weren't even part of the initial restock notification. So you're getting wholesale price on all of those. So this is a lot of products that is basically filtering through over the span of a month. So if we look at what we're looking at with the schedule for next year, where could something like this fit in? I mean, really anywhere. Anywhere, anytime, something like this could just kind of splash into our laps, and then all of a sudden you're getting a restock of Journey Together, a restock of Destined Rivals. And it's like, what are the more popular sets? Like, what is the Evolving Skies of the current era? Like, probably Destined Rivals, which could see a hit. Could it go down to MSRP? Probably not. But how big of a drop did we have from Evolving Skies at that time? That was like 40%. So if we lost 40% of Destined Rivals booster box value right now, so I mean $40 times $460, so 400 minus 160 is 240, 250, like maybe somewhere around there you could see Destined Rivals fall to something like that, 240 to 250. And the big difference right now, and this is the other thing that I wanted to touch on because I thought this was just really fascinating. So this is Jason, the president of the Upper Deck Company, who put this out on his LinkedIn page the other day, that I thought was a very interesting read, and I wanted to share it. I know it's Upper Deck is obviously more sports world, but it kind of all ties together. So everything speculative is up right now. Obviously speculation, which is like the mantra of the video. The stock market, Bitcoin, trading cards, and it's pricing some collectors out, which is true, and that's what makes it tough to assume liquidity in the future for a lot of your sets. Here's what the data shows. 50% of consumer spending in the US is coming from 10% of the population. Rich people are carrying the market not just in cards, but across every category. Concert tickets, $1,000 for nosebleeds, luxury goods selling faster than ever, high-end collectibles moving at record prices. When boxes cost $1,000 or more, you're not buying for fun anymore. And this goes back to what I was talking about. You're speculating. People buying on speculation, more so on passion. You're betting that what you buy today will be worth significantly more tomorrow, and that works until it doesn't. Sports cards have always had speculation built in. You collect a rookie, hoping they become a Hall of Famer, but what's happening now is in a different scale, and when markets become this speculative, they become fragile. I'm not saying the sky is falling, and this is what I'm talking about also. I'm not trying to fearmonger. I'm just trying to be honest. I'm saying we need to be honest about what's happening. This isn't sustainable growth driven by collectors who love the hobby. This is wealth concentration driving prices that most people can't participate in, and if that money suddenly moves elsewhere to bet on something else, we all will feel it. So this is, like, for me, this is a really big deal. For me, this isn't just a hobby. It is a hobby. Like, this has been a lifestyle for me for a very long time because it's been a business that I've owned, that I've ran, that I've tried to do everything right by. And I've tried, like, this is my salary, this feeds my kids, this feeds my wife, this makes our life work. And like, this is important to me. Like, not just now, but 10 years from now, 20 years from now, like, this is my career. And I chose this career. This is my career. I will feel like when things fall apart, when things stop going the way that they're going, we will all feel it. And other people who came in just to kind of bet on that speculation, move somewhere else, like, it's going to be impactful, which is why I think it's important to be careful. And then he went on to link the article that talks about 50% of consumer spending is coming from 10% of the population, which is, I mean, obviously the people who make the most money are stabilizing the economy right now by buying so much stuff. And you can feel that in Pokemon right now. You can feel that in Pokemon with the amount of money that's being thrown around at card shows, upon set releases. Like, think of how many booster boxes. Again, we want booster boxes until they're easy to get, and then we don't want them anymore. Well, think of all the people who are buying cases of booster boxes right now. People with very deep pockets are probably working out deals with storefronts with maybe distribution, like the housing and storing away cases of Pokemon booster boxes. And it's getting to the point right now where things are out of reach for a lot of collectors. That's why we focus so much on going somewhere else and other artwork of cards, like commons, uncommons, trainer gallery cards, cards that are cheaper that you can basically afford, like master setting, or basically just getting the beginning of a master set until things settle down a little bit, because like a lot of people are getting priced out right now of the hobby. It's not fun to open up a $15 pack of Phantasmal Flames on opening day because that's the only way that you can do it. It's not fun to pay a rip and ship price of $20 opening day because that's the only way you can find it. Like, that's pricing a lot of people out, and collectors are feeling it. And eventually things are going to change. And if we're watching and looking at how things have been going with all of a sudden waived releases, which is what Pokemon did in 2021, the anniversary set coming, which is what happened in 2021. And again, comparing the two is impossible and not something you should do. But we know that a reprint of Journey Together is coming at some point because that was communicated already. We don't know when that's going to be, but what if they're combining it all together? And what if we hit a situation like this again, where all of a sudden stores are faced to pay $500,000 worth of invoices? Like, that's going to bring the market down. And how far will it drop? Well, like, these are the sets that are more than likely going to be impacted. And really, it's probably the top three. And then I guess you could argue Stellar Crown. I wouldn't. I would say probably the top three, and then like Black Bolt and White Flare. But it's going to trickle down to these other ones. When you get to a point like we're at right now, where Paldea Evolved booster boxes are knocking on the door of $500. Recently, we're at $500. All these booster boxes are down 10-15% over the past month. But where like Paldea Evolved is as expensive, if not more expensive, than sets like Brilliant Stars, Astral Radiance, sets that have a decent amount more age. That is people entering the hobby for speculation purposes. And then when it comes to a time where they've got to move off of them, so these investor channels that you might watch and that you might enjoy, and they're great, like I have nothing wrong, and that's why it's important to be careful with the position that you're getting. Buying cases and cases of products, like that's difficult because you are over investing in one area, betting on the speculation that it's going to continue to climb, and not only that, but that those products are going to be easy to move in the future. There are people that we turn down right now. We get emails literally every day asking to buy our sealed collection, buy a sealed collection. I won't even buy sealed collections right now at 70%. Like, it's too difficult to move singular items, and also like it's just 70% still isn't great, because if things do continue to trend downward, which they're down, like I said, booster boxes are down 10-15% over the past month, I'm scared to death that there might be a reprint that comes. So if you invest $100,000 into a sealed collection at 70%, and you spend $70,000, and it doesn't move right away, and then all of a sudden Pokemon announces a reprint or something happens where the next best thing comes out, like that's a loss, and that's setting yourself up for, it's difficult right now. So trying to find things on the secondary market, like you can throw stuff up on eBay, you can throw stuff up on TCG Player, but if you're sitting on cases of Stellar Crown, yeah, it might not impact you if you're overly wealthy and you have a lot of Stellar Crown that can easily just slowly trickle out. But if you're somebody who's like, I need to move off of these 2 cases of Stellar Crown quickly, like 70% might not cut it for you. And that's what makes things difficult, is that's the thing that we're not communicating. We look at the collector app, or we look at some price tracking app, and we assume this is the price that this is worth. And honestly, the price is only worth what people are willing to pay. And that could be substantially less than that amount. So you have to be very careful where you position yourself, how much you buy, because it could be difficult to move down the road. And like I said, I don't want to cause any fear mongering or sky is falling mentality or anything like that, because like I think you should enjoy the hobby as much as you possibly can. But I think it's also important to look at both sides of the coin, because we don't know what will happen tomorrow. We don't know what things look like next year, especially with all the Pokemon cards that are coming out. We have no idea. So it's important to look at both ends of the spectrum. Like, if you want to be positive, if you want to be like, yeah, this thing's going to go up forever, that's fair. Like, that's your choice. Go nuts. But I think it's also in the back of your mind, you want to be understanding that this is a volatile market right now. And I think it's important to look at both ends of the spectrum and make the best possible decision when it comes to spending your collection dollars. I talked about this last week a little bit with a warning, like YouTube video that I put out, but I wanted to make sure that I explained it as to my full potential. I want to make sure that I do things the right way, and I want to make sure I hit home every single point. So I thought this was really interesting, and then kind of piecing things together a little bit. Again, no reprint confirmed. A reprint could do nothing. This could go on forever. This is all speculation, but I think it's important to talk about and important to understand what's going on and what could happen, so that way you make the right decision for you. So I hope you enjoyed the content. If you did, please hit that subscribe button down below. Leave a like, leave a comment. It goes a long way for the algorithm. Share the video, share the channel. You guys are awesome. Do all the things. I love you guys. I'll be back on Friday with another video. Till next time, peace.